guys, welcome to That Florida Feeling. How is everybody this week? Happy November. I can't believe it's November. Gosh, this year just flew by. I hope everybody had a happy Halloween. Also, happy Dia de los Muertos. Happy Diwali. It's been a lot of things happening lately, but I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's still recovering well. The recovery efforts are still going on. There's still plenty of ways you can help if you're interested. I know there's also a lot of deadlines coming up. I did post that on Instagram if you need it. Don't forget to turn in your deadlines for FEMA and any of the counties. Use those resources, guys. They're valuable. They're great. I used them. I recommend them. It really helped me out, especially when it was kind of that crazy time of I don't really know what to do. So don't be afraid to use them. Just don't miss those deadlines. I hope everybody is doing well otherwise. Thank you for listening to my Spooky Month episodes. I hope you guys enjoyed them. I do still do true crime and paranormal outside of Spooky Month, but it's always fun to be able to focus on those just for that month. Guys, again, thank you for all the comments, all the likes, the suggestions, everything, especially through the TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all the social medias. It's so much fun talking to you guys. I love the interactions. I do have some suggestions that were coming up very soon. I had a suggestion for Ocala. That'll be in the next couple weeks. Hopefully I'm going to have a guest on very soon as well, so that'll be fun. I'm excited for the next couple months with this podcast. You guys have given me some great things to work with, and I'm really excited for it. Also, don't forget to check out Unfiltered Studios. A lot of great people going on over there. A lot of great podcasts. A lot of cool things. If you're looking for a new topic to add to your library, definitely go check it out. You can find sports, movies, advice, pretty much anything you're looking for. Just definitely go check out Unfiltered Studios. There's probably a podcast that fits your lifestyle or what you're listening for. So definitely go check that out. Don't be afraid to. Really great stuff over there. Today, guys, we're going to talk about a small town in Florida that you've probably never heard of. I think it's a great little town. And its nickname is actually the City of Charm. And that's because it really is charming. And I am actually talking about Avon Park, Florida. Avon Park is a city in Highlands County, Florida. And it's really only got about 10,000 people in it. So it's a pretty small town, comparative. It is in the Sebring metropolitan kind of area. And it's actually also the oldest city in Highlands County. Fun fact, it was named after Stratford-upon-Avon from England. So it's got a very fancy name. But it is a very old town with a very old history. But it is a really cute little town. It's really nice. My uncle lived there, and I used to go there often. And I really enjoyed going there. Everybody was always really nice and friendly. Great little small town with some really cool restaurants and great places to just walk around, nice little parks. It's right basically in the Everglades. Really cool sunsets, nature. And I just was like, I'm going to talk about this little town. So the first permanent white settler in Avon Park was actually Oliver Martin Crosby. He was actually from Connecticut. So talk about your very first snowbird. And he moved to the area in 1884 to actually study the wildlife of the Everglades. So talk about picking the perfect spot. By 1886, enough people had followed him to the town of Lake Forest. That's what they were calling it. And they actually founded that town of Lake Forest. And as president of the Florida Development Company, he recruited settlers to the area, and many of whom actually came from England, and many came from Stratford-upon-Avon, and hence that's how they decided to name the little town Avon Park. Now the town continued to grow, and it did expand, and it did grow a lot more settlement. Of course, railroads came through, post offices, schools, amenities. As the town did, it finally became actually unincorporated in January 1st of 1926. So pretty an uneventful life in the town of Avon Park. It is just a small town in Florida. They had agriculture. It is around a lot of citrus groves. But Avon Park decided to make some noise in 1949. In September of 1949, when I'm going to call it Go, versus the state. In September of 1949, the city elected the youngest mayor in the United States history at the time, and that would be 21-year-old Wiley Sauls Jr., largely due to the votes of the 2nd Precinct, which was actually populated mostly by black residents. Sauls Jr. received 76% of the precinct's votes, and he was from 3rd out of 5 candidates to 1st, and he even usurped incumbent mayor O.W. Wilkes, who actually only received 20 votes from the 2nd Precinct. So, talk about an upset. In the following citywide election on September 11th of 1951, the 2nd Precinct was allowed to vote for the first time to be staffed and managed by its majority black populace. The overseeing inspector of the 2nd Precinct and the 2nd Precinct clerks were actually all black as well. And Wilkes challenged Sauls Jr. for the mayorship. He received a slim 8-vote majority in the 1st Precinct, but Sauls Jr. received an overwhelming 92.5% of the votes in the 2nd Precinct and very easily defeated Wilkes. The 2 new city councilmen, Manon Kirkland and J.B. Sparks, were also elected to the city council, largely due, again, to the 2nd Precinct. The incumbent city council met 4 days after the election and heard Wilkes' protest, who claimed that there were voter irregularities in the 2nd Precinct and that they should just install him as mayor and overlook these votes. The city council surprisingly did the right thing. They refused to give in to his demands and decided that he was just being a baby. Basically, like, no, you lost. You need to stop being a sore loser and go on. But, excuse me, guys, I'm getting over pneumonia. He was not going to give up. Sore losers never give up, right? He began to lobby local influencers and convinced the council to convene a special session on September 25th. He was not going to go down without a fight, or his version of a fight. And Wilkes alleged in this second meeting that the 2nd Precinct had not returned all its blank ballots after the election, and therefore calling into question the validity of all of their results. The council then voted 3-1 with 1 absent to throw out the votes of the 2nd Precinct. I have a feeling this man paid these people off, or bullied people, whatever. Which then prompted Wilkes to, again, become acting mayor, throwing out all the votes for Sauls Jr. This also caused Kirkland and Sparks, who had just been voted in, to be replaced by E.W. Goo and Oscar Wolf. Well, this didn't sit well with Sauls, Kirkland, and Sparks. They had been voted in. They knew they were voted in. The 2nd Precinct knew they were voted in. So they did what anybody should do. They hired an attorney. They hired Keith Collier, who argued that it was unlawful that a mere claim of irregularities without proof would give the council the authority to install themselves into an office in the face of challenging to their power. So basically he said you can't do it if you can't prove it. Smart lawyer. While the circuit court sided with Sauls Jr., Kirkland, and Sparks and demanded that the 3 be put into power, Wilkes and his counsel, again still not going down without a fight, through their attorney, S.C. Pardee Sr., pushed the case upwards through the judicial system and began to argue that the 2nd Precinct's inspector, W.J. Robinson, had hired people to help people cast their ballots, meaning that he had helped people pick. And it's like, so now it's voter fraud. This made it all the way to the Supreme Court of Florida in 1950s. So the Supreme Court of Florida heard the case and actually also voted in favor of Sauls Jr., Kirkland, and Sparks. So the 3 of them were actually installed as mayor and councilman, respectively, and put into municipal governments on notice that they were good. Like, they are now officially in power. Then the Supreme Court also told the municipal government, and said this to all of Florida, that you do not have the authority to invalidate an election in order to remain in power. So basically they said the next time you lose, you can't do anything about it. You can't just say it's invalid and continue to be in power. So I think that's pretty cool. Excuse me. That the Supreme Court was just like, no, this is not how this works. Get out of the seat. So I think that's kind of nice. So that was one thing that Avon Park decided to be known for. Unfortunately, another thing. So the Avon Park is home to a bombing range and an Air Force range. You can actually still visit them to this day. And in the 1950s, there was a little bit of an issue at the Air Force range. So on November 4th in 1950, a Republic F-84 Thunderjet being flown by 22-year-old Donald Floyd Whiston of the U.S. Air Force from Naval Station in Albany was training for the Korean War and actually crashed into the ground, killing Whiston at the Air Force range, just northeast of the city when it stalled. Less than 8 years later, on March 21st in 1958, a Boeing B-47 Stratojet being flown from MacDill crashed also at Avon Park Air Force Range. All 4 occupants were killed in the explosion. I'm not saying that there could have been something going on at the airport. No, I'm kidding. It's just bad timing to be at the Avon Park Air Force Range. And you can actually, so the cool thing about this Air Force range and bombing range is that they do actually allow people onto the range to hunt because it's a really, really interesting area up there. And you can get hunting permits out there, and I'll tell you about it in a second. But it's a massive area to be on this range. It's a beautiful wildlife area too. And I think it's really cool that they do allow people onto this range. But Avon Park also again made news in 2006 with the Illegal Immigrant Relief Act. In 2006, then Mayor Thomas Macklin proposed City Ordinance 08-06, or the Illegal Immigrant Relief Act, which would have blocked the issuance or renewal of city licenses to businesses that hired undocumented aliens, fined any property owners who rented and leased property to undocumented aliens, and established English as the city's official language, banning the use of other languages during the conduct of official business, except where specified under state or federal law. In the weeks before the vote, local businesses saw a drop in sales as immigrants became wary of shops, and that drove workers to stop showing up to local farms in fear of being arrested. The ordinance was defeated by the city council on a 3-2 vote. Now, what's interesting about this is that in this area around Avon Park, Highlands County, Hardy County, even South Polk County, you see a lot of immigrants because there are a lot of farms that these people will work on. And you see a lot of buses picking them up and taking them out and working. And you see a lot of them in the shops. And they're really nice people. Every time I've encountered them, they're all super nice people. I've gotten some amazing food from these shops that they run. And I remember hearing about this, and it's like, so you just took everybody that you need for these farms, these massive tomatoes and strawberries and citrus and everything you depend on for agriculture, and you just basically want to drive them out because you had a dumb moment? Okay, go Avon Park. But outside of that dumb moment, Avon Park is actually a really nice place. But what's really cool about Avon Park is that it's got some really interesting, like, geographical features. So the city is actually located on what's called the Florida Platform, and there's a lot of lakes that actually are either in the city limits or border the city, and a lot of them are like purely circular, like real actual circles, and a lot of them are actually deep, like really, really deep, like sinkhole deep. And they're gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous. Like, you can fish in a lot of them. And they're all these really pretty natural lakes. Like Lake Tulane is one of them. And it's a natural lake that has occupied a sinkhole. And a lot of times, like, they don't actually know how deep they are, but it's really cool because a lot of them are used for like swimming and boating and fishing. And they've got public boat ramps on them. And they just build housing around them, or like Lake Verona is located at the end of Main Street, and it's actually in Avon Park. And the lake's only about 41 acres, so it's not huge, but it's actually considered the deepest natural lake in Peninsular Florida. It's got really steep banks, like just drops off if you're in it. But it's really nice. I've actually been to Lake Verona. There's a boat ramp, but they have a really nice area around it with like picnic tables and shelters and bathrooms, barbecue grills. They've even got a beach with a public swimming area. But they do kind of warn people about swimming in it because, like, you just be walking and then like it's just the floor is gone. Like the floor is just gone. Um, it is entirely natural. It is basically a collapsed sinkhole, and it has got probably one of the most beautiful clear waters you've ever seen. And it is pretty much one of the most prominent features known for the city of Avon Park. It is also probably one of the oldest lakes in the United States. They estimated it over 33,000 years old. And they did this through a radiocarbon dating core samples from what they believe is close to the bottom of the lake. Of course, Lake Tulane that I just mentioned is its sister lake. It's just a little bit distant south from it. Lake Tulane is also estimated at a little bit old, closer to 60,000 years old. So it's also one of the oldest lakes. And depending on the water levels, they alternate as to which one is the deepest in peninsular Florida. So Avon Park is known for these beautiful, like, natural lakes. The other one that is really known in the city is Lake Isis, and it's at the northern part of Avon Park. Again, beautiful clear water, white sand beaches. It's a natural freshwater lake. This one does not have public access because this one is actually surrounded by private property. This was actually owned by Avon Park Holiness Camp. That camp was opened in the 1930s, and it was at one time used as a scuba diving training site, and it was held by the church camp, but it's pretty much off limits now because it's private property. But Lake Isis is also one of the ones that is well known for. But again, there's a lot of lakes just right outside of Avon Park, which makes Avon Park one of those amazing places that if you're looking for a place to have, like, you want a lot of nature surrounding you, like a small town in Florida with a ton of nature, definitely want to go to Avon Park. There is no less than 10 lakes right within proximity of Avon Park that have, boating, fishing. Like the one that comes to my mind is Lake Leela. Lake Leah. It's a freshwater lake. It's right on the south side of Avon Park, and it's beautiful. It's right by the South Florida Community College. Pretty nice lake, pretty open. There's a pier that extends from the college center into the lake. You can walk, visitors can walk on it. You can't fish from it, but there is a public boat ramp. You can fish in it. They don't really like swimming in that lake. I don't really know why. I've just seen the no swimming signs. But yeah, I mean, this is another one of those, like, if you are really looking for a place that you really want to go and experience a small town and nature, I definitely have to recommend Avon Park to people. It's charming. That's why it's called the City of Charm. Like I said, there's only about 10,000 people. So it doesn't have a huge amount of things to do. It is home to South Florida State College. It does have that going for it. There is the Avon Park Air Force Range. Like I said, they do allow hunting every now and then on it. You have to get special permits, so you can't just like walk up. But Avon Park does have a historic district. It's really nice. Its historic district runs from Main Street to South Delaney, and then to US 27, which is the main highway. It's got 13 historic buildings and one object. I always think it's funny when they say one object. But it's a really nice. It's got the Jacaranda Hotel, which is a really nice old hotel. It's a beautiful hotel that sits right downtown in Avon Park. So if you're just looking for a small place to get away, or if you're going to Sebring and you just want to drive around and look for some other little town to get away to, I would definitely recommend excuse me, Avon Park, as it has, pretty much everything you want for little charming stuff. They have little celebrations for, like they have the Charm City Odyssey that's going on this weekend, and it's sci-fi and anime, which is really cool for a smaller town to have something like that. They're doing a Veterans Day celebration on the 11th. They have a 5K walk run. So they do have a lot of like city sponsored events if you're looking for something like that to go to. And I mean, so basically we always joke, like, does it have a Publix? Avon Park does have a Publix. Because believe it or not, there are places in Florida that don't have Publix. Sorry about my cough, guys. I really am. I promise I'm getting over pneumonia. But no, Avon, it's got golf courses. It's got a little bit of everything. It's I won't even say it's for retired people because there's young people that live there too, surprisingly. But, I liked Avon Park. I didn't know what to think of it when I was going to go because I was seeing my uncle. But I found really nice people. I found some really cool places. Like there's Avon Park Diner. It's a little diner. If you want just some diner coffee, which I like diner coffee, I know. And some cheap eats. So if you're ever driving around Sebring or going to the Everglades and you need a little town to stop in, check out the City of Charm. Check out Avon Park. Take a look around. You never know what you might find, who you might run into, who you'll see. Although, if you're near the Everglades, let's just be realistic, guys. Chances are you're going to run into a Florida man. I mean, yeah, like chances are you're just probably going to run into a Florida man. I don't even know what else to tell you. And they seem to be much more in South Florida. It's either South Florida or the Panhandle. I don't know why. Although today's Florida man actually comes to us from Tampa. Florida man sometimes stays in the bigger cities too. Today's Florida man is from Tampa. He apparently left his radio-controlled explosive device in the restroom of a casino. Because I would forget where I put that too if I had one. I don't have one, but yeah. Brian Robert Eckerly, 46 of Tampa, has been charged with 2 counts of making, possessing, throwing, projecting, placing, or discharging a destructive device. Yeah. So apparently he hid 2 of the radio-controlled explosives in the restroom of a local casino. An employee found them, and then the guy tried to hide from the cops. Didn't do very well, and yeah. So basically, I guess an employee found them. But yeah, he hid them. He was arrested by the Hillsborough County Sheriff on an unrelated assault charge, basically with a firearm, and then he was tied to the case. So yeah, Florida man be Florida manning with, apparently now with explosives. Who knows? Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed learning about a small town in Florida that apparently exudes a lot of charm. No, it really does. Avon Park is actually one of those really cool little towns in Florida that I don't think many people know about, and it's one of those places you're not going to spend a week at, but you could definitely spend a day and have some fun. I hope you guys have a great week. Again, don't forget to just say hi. If you want to say hi, please say hi. It's fine. If you have a suggestion, I love hearing about suggestions. You guys come up with topics that I would never even thought of. So I love hearing about them. Just reach out if you need to. If you just need to talk, just shoot me an email, reach out on social media. If not, I hope everybody has a great week. Happy November. Don't forget to drink your water. Still wear your sunscreen, guys. It's still kind of like in the 90s here in Florida. So sunburns still happen. Be nice. Be nice. There's enough rude people in the world. Let's not be those people. All right, guys. That's your daily dose of sunshine.
This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.